month of Tishrei, and as we do every month, a quick summary about the month, what can be achieved, what we need to focus on, what is a certain energy that's going on in the month of Tishrei, of any month, that we can relate with the energy. And like I said before, that we go to a supermarket and we buy products, then every day, every week, every month has a certain energy. And if I know how to tap into that energy, then I derive this energy and it benefits me to do what I'm supposed to do. And the month of Tishrei is a very, very special month. Going by the biblical calendar, it's not the first month. A lot of people mistaken in thinking that Tishrei is the first month of the year. Tishrei biblically is the 7th month of the year. Nisan is the first month. But Tishrei is confused with the first month of the year because the power that Tishrei has is the power of beginning. The first day of Tishrei is called Aleph. Every first day of the month is Aleph. And if we say the word Aleph Betishrei, the first day of the month of Tishrei, has the same letters of the word Bereshit. Aleph Betishrei, again, is the identical letters of Bereshit. Bereshit means in the beginning. Like we opening the Torah, Bezrat Hashem in 2 weeks, we're starting to read the Torah. Bereshit bara Elokim tashamayim v'ta'aretz. In the beginning, Hashem created the world. So the whole month of Tishrei is signifying that the world is going back to its source. We are resetting, so to say, the world. Or in our terminology, in the more modern terminology, I'm rebooting the system. I'm now erasing everything, and I'm starting from the beginning. La'atchil mi bereshit, starting from the beginning. The process of a rebirth. That everything is starting from the beginning. So from the first day of Tishrei, I'm, so to say, resetting the entire system. I have the option of rebooting the system, clearing everything, deleting all the problems, and starting fresh. Now, this process is coming in 3 stages. And the 3 stages are explained in the teachings of Kabbalah as 3 powers. A certain koach. And a power is, you can call it a power or a certain energy. Energy can flow in different directions. And the process of the rebirth is based on these 3 powers. The teachings of Kabbalah explains that we always have 3 lines, Kava Yamin, Kava Small, and Kava Emtza. The right side, the left side, and the middle side. The process that we have to go through in this rebirth, what the month of Tishrei is offering, is we have to go through this process of these 3 lines of Kava Yamin, Kava Small, and Kava Emtza. And Kava Yamin, the right side, that represents the attribute of chesed, of kindness, and this is the power to give. The left side, Kava Small, represents what's called din, judgment, gvura, and this is the power to receiving, and not only the power of receiving, but also the power of restriction, to stopping. And then, of course, we have Kava Emtza, that this corresponds to Tiferet, is to balancing between both sides. Now, the teachings of the Zohar explains, based on a pasuk, or a verse from Shir HaShirim, the Song of Songs, written by Shlomo HaMelech, and he explains that based on this verse, we kind of understand the process of these 3 powers, these 3 types of motions. And the verse from Shir HaShirim, it says, Ve'imino tachat leroshi, sorry, smolo tachat leroshi, ve'imino techabkeni. His left is under my hand, it's talking about the left arm, ve'yemino, and his right hand is going to hug me. Then the verse continues by saying, Yishakeni min shikot piu, and so forth. And this verse is basically teaching us on these 3 motions. First, it starts with smolo tachat leroshi. Smolo is his left hand, referring to to the side, the left side, kav small. Tachat leroshi is under my head, like when I lie down and somebody lies on me and they put their head on me, so they put their head on my hand. So if I'm lying down like this, my kids like coming on Shabbat to my bed and they lie next to me, they say, let's cuddle. So I have one daughter that likes coming this side, she's under my left hand. And if I want to hug her, then I will turn and hug her with my right hand. So she's under my left hand, but my right hand is hugging her. And so the verse is, Smolo tachat leroshi, his left hand is under my head, but yemino techabkeni, his right hand is going to hug me. The left hand is referring to kav small, that I need to do a tikkun, a rectification for the entire side of this left side, which is the kavadin, is the gvura, is the restriction. And this time, this tikkun, this rectification is done in the 10 days of tshuva. From Rosh Hoshanah, which is Aleph Tishrei, till Yom Kippur, which is the 10th day of Tishrei. That's how the month starts, with the process of these 10 days. That the 10 days I have to start doing the tikkun, the rectification, for kav small, for the side, the left side. And we mentioned before that every day I'm fixing one sphira. The 10 days, they correspond to the 10 sphirot, which the Rosh Hashanah corresponds to Malchut. Then the second day of Rosh Hashanah will be Yesod, and then it will start climbing till the last day of the 10 days, which is Yom Kippur, and Yom Kippur is the Sphira of Karet. This is, Bezrat Hashem, in the next class we're going to talk how the whole power of the atonement on Yom Kippur, it's such a powerful day that the Torah says, Lifanai titaharu, in front of me you're going to be cleansed. When it says Lifanai, it means above. What can be above Hashem? Nothing can be above Hashem. That just comes to hint us that the day is such a high level that it's like as if Hashem, like a father is picking up a child to his level. Hashem is raising us, elevating us to such a high level that we're literally in front of Hashem, Lifanai. We're literally face to face with Hashem. That's the power of the day. But the secret of the power of the day comes from what's called in Lashon of Kabbalah, Keter HaElyon, the high level of Keter. Because Keter has many different levels in it. There's a Chitzoniyut HaKeter, the external part of the Keter, Pnimiyut HaKeter, the internal part. We spoke before about Karet. Karet doesn't affect the Pnimiyut HaKeter, the inner part of the crown. So the first 10 days of Tishrei, they correspond to the 10 Sfirot, and then every day I have to do a certain tikkun, and this is rectifying what's called kav small. And every day I have to meditate on what am I correcting, and what's the tikkun that I'm doing. And kav small, as I have to correct the what's called the ratzon lekabel, the part that I'm constantly I want to take something for myself, which we'll talk about it a little bit more in the next class, about the concept of what's really the tikkun on Yom Kippur. And a lot of the kilkul, what I damage, is the fact that I'm taking too much from this world. The teachings of the Torah tells me, don't take anything from this world. The more I take from this world, the more I pleasure from this world, the more I'm damaging in this world. So the main tikkun on Yom Kippur is dafka, is breaking this ratzon lekabel, this ratzon, this desire for what is in it for me, instead of doing it l'shem shamayim, to doing it for the sake of Hashem. So the day of Yom Kippur is the ultimate tikkun for Sfirat HaKeter. That's why the only thing that can start healing karet is Yom Kippur. Because if a person chas v'shalom did any type of sin that falls under the category of karet, the person must wait till Yom Kippur to start the process of the fixing of the karet. Because let's say a person throughout the year did something, then he did tshuva, till Yom Kippur nothing's happening, everything is left on hold. And if the person was decided on Yom Kippur that Hashem says, okay, we'll forgive that person, then starts the process. That's why usually people would expect after Tishrei for things to work out. Usually after Tishrei starts all the problems. suddenly the bills come and the headaches and chas v'shalom, all the rest of. Why? That's a very good sign. It means Hashem is forgiving you, and now it's going into action. If Tishrei passes and you get the check from the lottery, you won the lottery, and all the rest of the things, everything works out, that's not such a good sign. Rather, when things go a little bit wrong, usually you'll notice that after Tishrei things come down, suddenly starts the headache. That's a very good sign, means that Hashem did forgive you, and now starts the process of the Yisurim, of the hardship. But in the first 10 days of Tishrei, this is the process of the Tikkun, of the rectification of Kava Small. Everything that I damage that comes from Din, from Gvura, that's when I correct it. The next process is the Tikkun of Kava Yamin, of the right side, of Chesed. These are the 5 days between Yom Kippur till the first day of Sukkot. We have exactly 5 days between Yom Kippur and Sukkot. Now we know that we have 5 Chasadim, Keneged Chamesh Gvurot. There are 5, the count here is 5, so these 5 days is the Tikkun of the Kava Yamin. And then of course comes the 7 days of Sukkot. The 7 days of Sukkot, which is the final rectification of the Kava Emtza. And the 7 days of Sukkot, Sukkah, comes from the word, Sochech. Sochech means to cover. This is when Hashem, so to say, covers us. The first 10 days, Smolot Achat Leroshi, that my head is under the left arm of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Then on the next 5 days, Yeminot Echabkeni, the 5 days between Yom Kippur and Sukkot, and Hashem is hugging me. And the last day of Sukkot, this is the highlight of the 3 weeks. This is the holiday, it's called Hoshanah Rabbah. We stay up all night, we learn Torah, and in the morning we do akafot around the bima, and then we do one tradition that we take the leaves of the aravot, we take 5 of them, and we smack them on the floor. This is where everybody lets all the anger out. They start smacking the aravot on the floor. There's many different Kabbalistic explanations, but the Arizal explains that the leaf of the arava, it's shaped like lips. If you turn it this way, of course. And the last day after we went through this process, 21 days, that's the continuation of the verse. First we say, Smolot Achat Leroshi V'Minot Echabkeni. This is a verse in Shir HaShirim, you can find it there. And then it says, Yishakeni min shikot pio. The Yishakeni min shikot, Yishakeni is kissing. That's when Hashem is kissing us. And the Arizal explains that the leaves of the aravot, they resemble lips. After the 3 weeks of the change, that's when Hashem is kissing us on Hoshanah Rabbah and blessing us with a good year. That's when right after that we do Simchat Torah, we receive the Torah again. Because without doing this process, I can't receive the Torah. And receiving the Torah, we received it 3,400 years ago. But that I have a portion in it, that I actually have a connection to the Torah. So the main power of the month of Tishrei is to determine my connection to the Torah. How much of a connection I will have to the Torah the entire year. And B'ezrat Hashem, in a second we're going to continue to explain it more. But the process, this tikkun of the 21 days, it's one big holiday. It's not different holidays. It has different names, Rosh Hoshanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Hoshanah Rabbah, Simchat Torah, but it's one holiday. It's one process that cannot be separated. And I have to go through this process, and when I go through this process of a rectification, if I do it the right way, yes, my sins will be forgiven, but that's not what I need to concentrate on. I need to concentrate on what will be my connection to the Torah throughout the entire year. Am I going to want to go and pray? Am I going to want to observe the mitzvot? Am I going to have a big Yetzer Hara, a small Yetzer Hara? What's going to be my connection to the Torah? And that's the month that determines this connection. Now, when we continue, we know that we learn that every month There's a certain planet that controls the month. The planet of Tishrei is Noga, which Noga means light. I like calling the month of Tishrei the month of light. Chodesh HaOrot. You know, people go to Uman, thousands of people go to Uman, 50, 60, 70,000 people. And what do they say they come back with? They come back with Orot. They don't even know what it means, but they come back with it. Orot. I mean, Or is a light. But the truth is, it is true. The month has shining so much lights, these spiritual lights, that I can receive some of this light. So Noga is the planet that controls the month. Excuse me? Noga. Noga is in English, I think you call it Venus, no? Not too sure. How do you call Noga in English? I think the planet Noga. Venus, right? I think Noga is Venus, but we don't call it by its American name, by English name. We call it Noga. Kochav Noga. Noga is light. And the letter, the book of formation, Sefer Yetzirah, explains that every planet is created with a letter. The letter of Noga is the letter of Pei, which in itself is a very interesting letter. And then we have the sign of the month, which is Libra, Moznaim. Again, from the book of formation, the letter that creates the sign is Lamed. Lamed is also a very unique letter. It's one of the letters that goes above the line, which goes outside of this world. And we also always learn that there's a certain sense in the month, and the sense of the month of Tishrei is the sense of touching, mishush, chusha mishush. Now, the touching is a very interesting sense, because when somebody touches you, touching can be the most soothing and nice feeling that one can experience, but can be the most annoying thing if somebody touches you the wrong way or with the wrong energy. It can be the most disgusting, annoying feeling that one can experience. So the sense of touching is very unique. It has two opposites. One can be the complete positive. The touching can be a very pleasurable and soothing and warm feeling. And like a child, the child gets hurt, they run to the parent to hug them. And Bechlal, we see that a physical touch in the positive side is one of the best feelings one can experience in this world. You know, you go to a massage, what a feeling. So the physical touch can be very, very positive. But on the other hand, the mishush, the touching, can be extremely, extremely negative. Now, the chush, the sense of touching, represents two different extremes. First of all, the touching, how do you feel the touching? The mishush, you feel it with your body. The body is a cover to the nefesh, to the soul. We said before that the soul needs garments, but we have spiritual garments. We also have a physical garment. Our body is a garment to the soul. The Zohar calls the body Chalukah de Rabbanan. Chalukah, it means a coat. My body is a coat. Now, when I'm wearing this jacket, the jacket has my shape. If I now take the jacket off and I throw it down, it's a piece of cloth and it's all crumbled and it doesn't have any life in it. The body is the coat of the neshama. The neshama leaves out, the body will fall down and will disintegrate. It will rot. It's nothing. The body is nothing. At the same time, the body is the tool that allows the soul to express itself. The soul cannot express itself. The soul is kind of paralyzed in the body. If now there wouldn't be a body, the soul cannot do anything. Maybe a soul, a very great, high-level soul, can move something in this world. A regular soul can't do anything in this world without a body. So some angels, are very high-level angels, they can move things in the world. They can move things around. Same thing with certain souls of tzaddikim. They can move things around. But our soul, a very simple soul, it's an amazing soul. It's a spiritual being that we can't even imagine its abilities. But put a naked soul in this world, it can't do nothing. It needs a body. So the body, in one way, is covering the soul. On the other hand, it's also the tool that the soul can use. If my soul wants to express itself, it needs the body. And the soul can express itself through the body, through its movement, through its speech, through its action. So this is where the touch, the mishush, can be expressed in a very positive way. Chas v'shalom can be also expressed in a very negative way. I can hug somebody with my hands, and chas v'shalom, I can beat somebody with my hands. And not only that, I'm sensitive to touch. Some people, they get very sensitive. You just touch them. No? They already get repelled by the touch. So concentrating on the sense of mishush in the month of Tishrei is, there's always a connection between the sense of the month and the tribe of the month. Every month is represented of one of the tribes. The tribe of the month of Tishrei is the tribe of Ephraim. Now, going back to the book of formation, Sefer Yetzirah, which is the original, the first book of Kabbalah, that was, it's attributed to Avraham Avinu, but it was compiled by Adam HaRishon. And it says there a very interesting verse, and it says, En tova lemala mi'oneg, ve'en ra'a lemata minega, which the translation is, there's nothing better, there's nothing good above, there's nothing higher than pleasure, than oneg, and there's nothing lower than nega. Nega is, I think you say it in English, layin. That's how you say it in English? Layin? Nega. Nega is like when something is on the skin. I think you pronounce it lesion. No, I think you write it lesion, and I think you say it. You also pronounce it lesion. So nega is a lesion. Yes, Lesion, lesion. So I thought you pronounced it leon, but that's nega. So there's nothing higher than pleasure, and there's nothing lower than lesion. Now, oneg and nega has the exact same letters, Ain, Nun, and Gimel. Now, when it's oneg is pleasure. I mean, at the end of the day, we all want pleasure. We are creatures that are running after pleasure. When I eat, I want the food to be tasty because it's pleasurable. When I sleep, I want the bed to be comfortable. When I wear nice clothes, it's all about pleasure. This is something we're going to talk about in the next class, what Yom Kippur, the power of Yom Kippur is to break this klipa of this constantly enjoying pleasures in this world. But we are creatures that are after pleasure, and this is built into our nature. It's not something that we can blame ourselves. Rather, it's built into us, the constantly need for pleasure. So when it comes in the form of pleasure, which is in Hebrew oneg, then what does oneg do? It's connecting two opposites. This is the basic action, what something pleasure that it does. It's connecting two opposites. But when you switch the order of the letters to nega, I think nega is also an affliction. Is that another right way of saying it? But we'll stay with lesion. Nega, it comes to creates a separation, and it's like a mechitza, a wall that separates between two things. This is nega. That's why, for example, when now we don't have leprosy in our generation, the leprosy would be a lesion on the body, and it would make a separation. I mean, I shouldn't say that in our generation where there's no tzarat, there's no leprosy, we don't have it outside, we have it inside. We didn't get rid of leprosy. So when a person says Lashon Hara, then in the olden days when we had Bet HaMikdash, and even before that, then they right away had tzarat, the leprosy. In our days, we don't experience it. Rather, our sages teach us that we don't have it external, but we have leprosy inside. So that's even worse. But the nega comes to separate. So we have the same letters in a different order. One order is oneg, is pleasure. I mean, we want to pleasure in this world. Not only that, one of our things that we're waiting for in Olam Haba is lit'aneg al havaya, is to pleasure Hashem. And when we celebrating Shabbat, what do? We lit'aneg oneg Shabbos. We have to lit'aneg al Shabbat. V'karat al Shabbat oneg. We call Shabbat, the Prophet says, and you should call Shabbat pleasure. The question is, what is the pleasure? The physical pleasure or the spiritual pleasure? This we're going to talk in the next class, because Yom Kippur has to do with the separation between the physical pleasure and the spiritual pleasure. By taking these letters of oneg, ayin, nun, gimel, if I have it in one form, it's pleasure. The other order, it's nega. Now, when it's in the order of oneg, ayin, nun, gimel, this is called, in the teachings of Kabbalah, Eden, Nahar, Gan. Eden is something sweet. Of course, also Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden. Then I have Nahar. Nahar is a river, and Gan. If you remember that in the book of Bereshit, it's talking about that there are 4 rivers, that they're going out of the garden. And which garden? The Garden of Eden, Gan Eden. So in the teachings of Kabbalah, these are 3 yesodot, 3 foundations that we have, which is Eden, Nahar, and Gan. Gan is a garden, Eden is something sweet, and Nahar is a river. When it's coming in the order of oneg, ayin, nun, gimel, first I have the oneg. This is also something that is very refined, what's called adinut. And also adnut, which is the sweetness. Then I have a river, which represents an abundance, what's called shefa. And then I have gan. Gan is a garden, but gan represents the other person that I'm in touch with, because we are what evolves in our life is relationships. If a relationship is a good relationship, then it's pleasure. There's nothing better than having a good relationship, a very special, warm and deep relationship with a parent, with a friend. But if chas v'shalom the relationship is a little bit off, it's the biggest suffering ever. You see that between a husband and wife, you see it between a parent and a child, and of course even with friends and acquaintances. If the relationship is good, it's pleasure. If it's not, it's the biggest disaster ever. That's why we see it shouldn't be like that. You see that in most families, there's not good relationships between the people there. To find a family that the dynamics in the family is very calm, and everybody's talking to each other, and it's nice, and that's a very big achievement. Most families, the dynamics, the circulation of energy between the families off, and the relationships are completely, maybe that person will be good with this one, but not with that one, and all day long, these stories, like a whole drama in the family. So the gan is the relationship, the touch, so to say, between me and my fellow person. It's called zulat, somebody that is not me. So when it comes in the right order of ayin, nun, gimel, oneg, pleasure, it means at first I have the pleasure. And the pleasure is, of course, coming from the spiritual world, not the physical, not the chocolates and the rogalach. That's not the pleasure I'm talking about. I'm talking about the spiritual pleasure. Then if it comes in the right order, then I experience what's called the nahar, the nun. This is an abundance. And then, of course, the gan, the relationships are all smooth and good. If chas v'shalom it comes in the other way, which is nega, nun, gimel, ayin, that first comes the nahar, first an abundance of what? Of disagreements. And then the sweetness, it's at the end. When the sweetness is taken and put at the end, then the order is completely different. This is the nega, the lesion, when it's the opposite of pleasure. That's why when Sefer Yetzirah, the book of formation says, En lemala mi oneg, there's nothing greater than oneg, and there's nothing lower than nega. When something is not working out the right way, there's nothing worse than that. I mean, many things in our life are bad, but we can kind of handle it. When there's problems in communication or relationships, this is the worst thing. That when a husband and wife, they can't get along with each other. When I can't get along with my kid, with my partner, whatever it is. There's nothing worse than that. The person can drive you crazy all day long. But when there's a good relationship, that's the best thing that one can experience. Now, going back to the sense is called mishush. Chusha mishush. Mishush is the touching, the power, the sense of touching. Every word in the Hebrew language has a root. Now we have a 3-letter root, and we also have a 2-letter root. The 2-letter root of the word of mishush is mash, touching, mem and shin. Now the way, the biblical term for marital relations is called tashmish. This is how our sages use the word of touching is tashmish, and also the word of marital relations is called tashmish. The marital relation is called tashmish amita, the touching when in the bedroom. But you see that it has the same 2-lettered root, the mem and the shin, the mishush. Now, I told you that the tribe of the month is Ephraim. Ephraim has in it the word that is called priya. When we're going to read Bezrat Hashem in 2 weeks the book of Bereshit, the first thing that Adam and Chava were ordered to do is pru urvu. Pru is to be fruitful. And Ephraim has the word in it what's called priya, to be fruitful, to be very to be multiplying. Now, the ultimate, or not, I shouldn't say the ultimate, the tachlit, the main thing that in the touch between a husband and wife in a relationship is to create unity. And the husband and wife are together, they reach the ultimate level of unity, they can birth life into the world. This is the root of unity. When there's unity, then I bring life to the world. So I can see it in marital relations between a husband and wife. When there's unity, then they bring life to the world. But in my life, when there's unity, what will be birthed in the world? Life. And that's the pleasure, the stanug. So the power, the sense of touching with the connection to the month, to the tribe of Ephraim, comes to teach me something very, very, very deep. That in the month of Tishrei, I have, I told you before, the ability to lay the foundation of my connection to the Torah. But not only that, we always ask on Rosh Hoshanah for Hashem to bless me with parnasah, with sustenance, with happiness, with health, and shlom bayit, and we ask all these things. Ultimately, what are we asking? We're asking to be happy. If I have money, and I have shlom bayit, and I have a wife, and kids, and I'm basically, in one word, I'm asking to be happy. That's what I'm asking. So, the month of Tishrei has the ability for me to reach to the depth of my soul to pull out this oneg, this happiness. How do I do that? When I lay the letters in the right order, instead of chas v'shalom having a nega, a lesion, is to lay it in the right order to have oneg. How do I do that? By placing the ayin in the beginning. The eden has to be in the beginning, and the gimel, the gan, the relationship comes at the end. If I order it the right way, then what will happen is when it comes to our relationship, the relationship is going to be smooth. There's going to be a good communication between me and other people. Then the relationships will be smoother. So when it comes to applying it, I have to do my Tikkun in the first 3 weeks in Tishrei, so I can reach to the level that I have a very clear and very deep connection to the Torah. That my entire life is based on my connection to the Torah. Because the Torah, it says on the Torah, Ki hi chayenu. The Torah is my life. If I have a good connection to the Torah, then my soul is breathing correctly, spiritually of course. So I want to lie down the foundation that the entire Torah the entire year I have a very good connection with the Torah. That my entire life is based on the Torah. This is the ta'anug, this is the oneg. The only pleasure that my soul gets is from Torah. If I learn Torah, if I observe the Torah, if I respect the Torah, if I follow the rules of the Torah, that's when my soul gets pleasure. If a person is 100% connected to the Torah, they're always happy, they're always content, they're always relaxed, they're fulfilled. When you start moving away from the Torah, and you can be an observant individual, but you start moving away from the Torah, that's when you experience this emptiness, the sadness. Now of course you blame it on everything around you, but the reality is that the real happiness comes from the soul. It's not coming if you have a lot of zeros in your bank accounts, if you have a brand new car or a beautiful home. That's what's not going to cause you to be happy. It's going to cause you to be comfortable, and in some cases actually going to cause you a headache. But the real happiness comes from my soul. How do I make my soul happy? Is building a connection with the Torah. When I build a very healthy connection with the Torah, that the month of Tishrei lays the foundation, then I'm basically taking the ayin of the word oneg and I'm placing the ayin in the first position, and this is the ayin of oneg. What will be the result from that? Will be the nun, the nahar, the abundance, shefa, abundance of happiness, abundance of health, abundance of wealth, abundance of everything. What would that affect? That would affect the gan, the gimel of the oneg, and that's my communication with the world around me. If I have a very healthy communication with everybody around me, I don't have anger, I don't have frustration, I don't have sadness, I don't have all these things. What causes all these emotions? I mean, I can't blame it on anything right now, but everything around me. If I wake up in the morning and I'm very happy with my wife and we have a good relationship, and in the morning is a nice good morning, you want a cup of coffee, you want to eat something, the day is completely different than when I wake up in the morning after an argument or in an argument. It ruins the entire day. That's why, a lot of parents, unfortunately, they're going through stress or whatever situation, and they throw all their anger and stress on the kids. And if you already must do that, which I'm not recommending to do it at all, take all your stress and anger at the wall. But if you already must do that, don't do it in the morning, because you ruin the entire day. If a parent wakes up in the morning and they have a problem with an issue with anger, or they had a fight with their spouse, hold it for the first hour. Let the kid go to school, because don't ruin his day. You start the day with an argument or with something negative, your entire day is carrying that energy. So, two things that we want to take out of the month of Tishrei. A is the foundation of my connection to the Torah. B, which is not less important, is the foundation of my connection to everybody around me, to my wife, to my kids, to my co-workers, to my boss, to my students. Doesn't matter who it is, everybody around me. This is called zulato. It's something that is not me. And this is the month that I can create a very smooth connection between everybody around me. That's why we see that the power, the sense of the month is the mishush, because in one way it can, like I told you before, the body can cover and conceal, which that is a negative thing, and also the body can let the soul express itself. So the power of mishush, and going again with the concept, taking it from the month, the tribe of the month of Ephraim, of being multiplying and fruitful. This is creating something new, creating a new reality, new life. And you see that when somebody wants to show affection, most of the time the affection will be with a physical touch. Of course, you can show affection with a present, but as affection, how do you show affection to the kids? You hug them, you kiss them, you pick them up, you give them a high five, whatever it is. So, taking it all together, we have two very valuable tools that I need to concentrate on the month of Tishrei to be able to lay a very solid foundation to carry me out throughout the year. And one has to do with the other. And if I build a very solid connection with the Torah, and I also build a very solid foundation to have a good communication with everybody around me, that's what allowing me to have this oneg, this pleasure, and that's what we want, and having this abundance, the nahar, the river, and having good relationships with everybody, because a good relationship brings prosperity. Bad relationship, it kills. You have a bad relationship in business, it will kill the business. You have a good relationship between countries, between families, between people, all it does is it births positive things and a good life. So we want to concentrate on that our year will be blessed with a very great connection, a deep connection to the Torah, that I'm going to have an unbelievable love for the Torah, an unbelievable love for the mitzvot. Yetzer hara we're always going to have, we're not getting rid of him, but I can still have an unbelievable love to the Torah and the mitzvot. And to develop that is a very, very special thing. I see a lot of people that they follow the Torah, they do everything, but there's no love. They don't love the Torah, they don't love the mitzvot, they don't love the Shabbat. I mean, I can tell on myself, the first 6-7 years of my observant life, I didn't love Shabbat. I actually hated Shabbat. I didn't like Shabbat at all. It was another day that I can't do anything. I actually didn't like it. I didn't get the point of Shabbat. Baruch Hashem, one day, like as if the mechitza, the wall was removed, suddenly I got it. I fell in love with Shabbat to a point that I can't wait for Shabbat to come. And when Shabbat already afternoon comes, I'm already starting to get a little bit upset because there's only 3-4 hours left. So we want to develop an unbelievable connection, a deep connection and a love to the Torah, because that allows me to follow the Torah and to observe the Torah in a completely different level. But since we are still connected into this world, and Hashem created it in such a way that we are stuck in relationships. We're going to read in 2 weeks the book of Bereshit. It says that Hashem created Adam HaRishon, and right after that, Lo tov al Adam liot levado. It's not good for man to be by himself. If you would reverse now the situation and you would consult with Adam HaRishon, he might come to the conclusion of saying, it is good to be by myself. Some people say, I wish it was only me. But Hashem says, no, Lo tov al Adam liot levado, not because he's going to be bored. The translation is it's not good for a man to be by himself. A man, a woman, a human being, a human. So it doesn't mean that it's not good for him to be by himself because he's going to be sad or bored. No, it's not good for him to be by himself because he's not going to be able to refine himself. I can only work on myself and refine myself when I have somebody that is reflecting me, and somebody it's called a zulato, somebody that is not me. I will never be able to refine myself if I don't stand in front of another person. Because if I'm rude, the person in front of me is going to tell me, I'm sorry, you're rude. And then it means I have to work on myself. And if I have a problem with anger or patience or I'm judgmental, the person in front of me is going to reflect that on me. So I'll be able to say, oh, you know what? I have a problem with judging people wrong. I have to work on myself. That's the root, the essence why Hashem says it's not good for a man to be by himself. Why? Because he's never going to grow. And if I put a mirror in front of him, that's not going to work. The man needs to see that when I insult somebody, when I insult my kid, the kid will be upset and he will run to the room and cry. And if I didn't get that, something's wrong with me. I need to see, oh my gosh, my words were hurtful. And now another person is sad because of me. And I need to make a change. I need to control my mouth. I need to control my words. I need to be sensitive with my words. And the next day, instead of insulting the child or the person, I will compliment them. You did great. You are amazing. You're this, you're that. So Hashem puts people in front of me. It's called a relationship, so I can refine myself. When the relationship is good, there's nothing better than that. When the relationship is bad, this is the nega, this is the lesion. You can't stand it. This is the worst torture in this world, is to be stuck in a bad relationship. That I can't stand it. And some people deal with these relationships for 20, 30, 40 years with a child, with a partner, with a spouse. This, I call it torture. I don't want to say punishment, but it's the worst thing one can experience after chas v'shalom, a sickness. So comes the month of Tishrei and teaches me that I have all the powers and all the tools to lay down the foundation that my connection to the Torah will be healthy, which in itself will cause me unbelievable happiness, and more than that, my relationships. Hashem, there's no mistake that I was married to who I'm married to, and my parents who my parents are, and my siblings, and that's not that Hashem ran out of people and He's like, okay, I'll put you in this family. Everything is precisely calculated, and if I have not good relationship with a parent or child, or there's a reason for that. It's Hashem telling me, in other words, that's what I need you to work on, and that's what I need you to correct. Now, it doesn't mean that one is going to necessarily be able to do it in this world, but at least they have the awareness and they're trying and they're doing an effort. So, because sometimes it's a one-way street. You can try and try and try, and the other side is not willing to do anything, and nothing's going to come out of that. But at least you need to know where to put your energy and what you need to work on. So, if you want to look at it, just one last thing, if you want to look at it in a very personal level, now I'm talking about the relationship between me and another person. But there's also the relationship between me and myself. Between me and myself. And if I want to look at it in a very personal, deep way, then I can refine the touch, so to say, the connection between me and my soul. Because the real me is my soul, but I also have a body. And I have thoughts, and I have desires, and I have all sorts of ideas, and whatever it is. And I need to have a good communication with my soul. If I don't have a good communication with my soul, I will be lost in this world. Because my soul is my GPS, my guide. Because the soul is attached to Hashem, so it sees everything, it knows everything. If I don't build a relationship with my soul, then I will be completely out of touch. And this is creating a bridge, a contact between me and my soul. That can be done only when I pray. When I do my meditation, my hitbodedut, my hitbonenut, whatever type of meditation that I find to be more applicable, connected to me. But either way, I have to also take this month to create a good connection with my soul. That my soul will be aligned with my body. At the end of the day, if my body is not aligned well with my soul, there's going to be a lot of problems. It can be chas v'shalom, physical problems, emotional problems, spiritual problems, because the soul and the body they have to be aligned with each other. So regardless to that, as a side note, that one needs to build a healthy relationship with my soul. That of course can only be done through Torah and mitzvot and prayer. When I pray, praying is also a form of meditation, as I align my body and my soul. So my body will start following what the soul needs. Because the soul doesn't need the food and a lot of food. It needs a little bit of food. It doesn't need too much sleep. It doesn't need too much physical pleasures. The soul actually doesn't like that. The soul needs more spiritual pleasures. The soul gets much more benefit from 1 hour sitting and learning Torah than watching 1 hour a movie. Maybe the body enjoys the movie. The soul doesn't enjoy the movie. The soul enjoys this 1 hour of Torah. So I have to align my soul and my body together. And again, the month of Tishrei, since it's when I reset the system, it's when I start all over. And again, it's not the beginning of the year, it's just left. It's actually the middle of the year. It's exactly 6 months after Nisan. Our sages teach us that the world was maybe created in Tishrei, but the neshama of the world was created in Nisan, and the month of Nisan. And the 6 months between Nisan and Tishrei is the preparation for the physical world to start evolving. And now I have another half a year after Tishrei till Adar to put it into action. To put everything that I prepared for into action. Bezrat Hashem, we should really take advantage of this month to get attached and to be connected to the Torah in the most deepest way that I can. And Be'ezrat Hashem, if I do my work the right way, then by default Hashem is going to bless me, but I'm going to be able to feel this blessing. I'm going to be able to open this channel of abundance that comes. Eden is pleasure, and also heaven, Gan Eden is called, the Garden of Eden is the Gan of Eden. It's the garden in Eden. Eden is a very high level, and teachings of Kabbalah explains that Eden is a very high level of the sweetness of metikut. And I want to be able to pull from that Gan Eden, this river, like in the book of Bereshit, that it's talking about from the Gan, from the garden, the 4 rivers came out, that the rivers, they represent this abundance. And this is the time when I can reach to a very high level, in this level of Eden, to pull out this abundance. And that's where we bless each other, and we asking for Hashem to have a blessed year of happiness and success and health, and have Yirat Shamayim, God-fearing, and love to Hashem, and everything in this world, in the positive, should be in an abundance. As Hashem, we should take advantage of the month the right way, and if we do that, then we will definitely feel the pleasure and the abundance coming from the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and we should try our best and to go even beyond our limits, that Hashem will bless us with the ultimate pleasure to seeing the Gan Eden in this world. And we see that very soon when Mashiach is going to come, and we see how the godly revelation can be also be in this world. As Hashem, we should be blessed with a very special, happy, healthy year.